Welcome to PezKnits. My name is Presley, and this is my very late monthly roundup for July. I hope you've all been well. I haven't really been able to have like a little sit down and like go through everything I've been working on because I've actually got a lot of like hard deadlines that I'm trying to meet this month, which is why it's like I've been mostly knitting rather than recording. But anyway, we made it. We're here. I hope you've had a really great July so far. Just want to mention what I'm wearing. This is my single malt sweater by Maxier. I'm not sure if I've worn this on the channel before. This is like one of the sweaters that, actually one of the very first sweaters that I ever made. And I feel like I don't show it off as much as I should, only because like I see all of the mistakes that I made like during the making of this, and so like I don't really wear it because I'm like, oh, it looks ugly, but it actually looks good, so I'm gonna wear this more often on this channel. So yes, single malt, Maxier, great pattern. It was just a skill issue. It was a skill issue, which is why on my Ravelry project I call it single sweater disaster. A bit dramatic, honestly, now looking back at it. It's a great sweater, really nice, check it out. Anyway, I'm jumping into whips. So the two whips I'm going to talk about today are actually the two that have deadlines against it. I'll start with this one. So this has a bit of a story. I follow a YouTuber called Jonathan Days, and I think his YouTube channel is called Jonathan's Days, which is so cute. And I've been following him for a while, and he recently put out a advertisement, like a message on his Instagram asking for test knitters to test his shawl, which is called the Utility Shawl. I really love the look of the shawl, very minimalistic. I'll put a picture of here what it looks like. And so I volunteered, and I ended up being chosen to test knit it. And I've never tested anything in my life, so I was a little bit intimidated. However, the whole process has been really great. We have an Instagram group that we've been like corresponding with each other about our progress and stuff. It's like really fun. And yeah, so my deadline for that is like the beginning of August. So I've just been madly knitting mine up, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to stop talking and show you what it looks like so far. So for those who saw my previous episode, you may recognize this yarn. This is my Possum Perino yarn that I purchased in New Zealand. The original pattern called for like a fingering and a mohair held together, but this is like a DK weight yarn. But I feel like it did the job really well because instead of holding two, it's like the mohair or the possum that's like acting like the mohair is like already in the yarn, if that makes sense. And I did hit gauge, but then when I reached the number of stitches required to start the decreases, it was larger. Anyway, whatever. I mean, it's like a shawl. Like, if it's bigger, I'm not going to be mad. Do you know what I mean? Like, the bigger the shawl, the better, like, in my mind. So I wasn't mad at that. But that's totally just me being, like, not good at, like, understanding gauge. So, yes. So I've just started on the decreases. You can see the point of the sweater. The point of the shawl is here. And then it's going to start decreasing onto the other end of, like, the triangle. Looking so cute. The color is looking really strange on camera. It looks more like an avocado green. It's coming across as like an army green on camera, I feel like. But it's more like an avocado green. I love the color. And what's so fun is that I can like pretend that it's done because the one half is done. So imagine if it was like another... Imagine if the other half of the shawl was done. Like that's what it's going to look like. So cute. So I've been madly knitting on this like crazy. The whole experience about test knitting was really interesting because you could tell who was like an experienced test knitter who had like done it before versus like me who's like never done it in my life. They had like a lot of really great feedback about how Jonathan had written the pattern. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh wow, this is already so great. Like I can't think of anything that would provide like good feedback, but like a lot of people had really good feedback to make the pattern clearer. And as soon as they said it, I was like, oh wow, yeah, that's a really great idea. So anyway, I'm really trying to get this done by August. I think it will happen. I actually calculated how many decreases I would need to do per day to meet to meet the deadline, and it's about three decreases per day. I'm like, I can do that. And I've been making it a practice recently to take my knitting projects with me on the train to work, which has really like sped up my knitting progress. Like before, I was just like on the train, I didn't bring anything with me. I'd like watch Netflix or something. It only occurred to me recently, I'm like, I have 45 minutes on the train. Like I could get a lot done in 45 minutes. So I started taking them with me, and I feel like that's really helped with me like progressing my projects, which is really great. So we are on a time crunch, people, with this one. Wish me luck. I don't remember the last time I actually had a time crunch besides me trying to finish my fiance's sweater last year before his birthday. That was like the last time crunch that happened. And so this is the second one. So hopefully I'll be able to make it. Okay, whip number 2. And this one has a deadline too. Honestly, like, bad me for like putting like 2 projects that both had deadlines like at the same time. Like, what was I thinking? I do not know. It just kind of happened that way. So this is my Sugar Bush sweater. And for those who have seen my channel before, you would have seen this already. But I have now started on the first sleeve. And the reason why this is like taking so long, classic me not investing in an interchangeable needle set. And what I mean by that is like the cord needle set where you're able to change out like the size of the needle with the length of the cord. I haven't brought myself to like invest in that, which would make my life so much easier, because there's just so many situations where you need, like, my situation was that I needed a 3.5 millimeter needle in I can't remember how many inches. It must have been 9 or 6 inch cord, and I didn't have it. And I realized I didn't have any 3.5 millimeter DPNs. I could have sworn I did, but I didn't. I'm not a big fan of knitting on DPNs to begin with, but like in a pinch, which is what I was in, I would have been willing to use it, but I didn't have 3.5 millimeter DPNs. And so I had to purchase a pair of needles and wait. And it took actually like, I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks to come from America. Anyway, it is what it is. This is like a week's worth of knitting. And so I've made a lot of progress. And in the end, it's a very small circumference, and I'm also decreasing for the length of the sleeve. So I think I'll be able to get this done pretty quickly. Now, the reason why there's a deadline on this one, this is not a test knit. I am planning on submitting this sweater as an entry into a needlework and something competition where they like accept knitting, sewing, blah, blah, blah. I've done it for the last 2 years. It's for the Penrith show. My first year, I submitted a shawl. My second year, I actually submitted that sweater that I finished for my fiance's birthday. I submitted that. And now this is going to be my third entry for the third year. And I really, really want this because I think that this could be a winner. You know what I mean? I'm like, this could actually win me a ribbon. So I'm really hoping I can get that done by the time the show rolls around, which is also August. So I'm like in the most awkward position ever. I've been like knitting like you wouldn't believe. Like just every day I've been like interchanging between these two. Like I take this on the train and I take the other one on the train and I take this one on the train. Like back and forth because I'm desperately trying to finish both of them at the same time. So yeah, talking more about this one for those who don't know. This is a full ply sweater. Never knitted a full ply sweater in my life. Here I am wondering why it's taking so long. It's like a very fine, like knit, but it feels like it's knitting up relatively fast. I feel like when you're knitting in the round and it's just stockinette, you're just knitting. So it goes by really quickly. And the yarn is from Glenhaven Knits. And I'm pretty sure that the type of yarn that this is discontinued because it was on clearance when I bought it. And I bought it a long time ago, I think like maybe 2 years ago at a winter yarn festival. And so it's been sitting in my stash for a really long time. And the whole time when I purchased it, I had envisioned like a color work yoke sweater. And so that's what I ended up doing. And this is the Sugar Bush sweater pattern. The name of the designer is not coming to me at the moment, but it's a free pattern, and actually all of her patterns are free, and she's got a really beautiful catalog of all of these free patterns, like including sweaters, shawls, hats, Like, definitely check her out. Hopefully I put her name on the bottom, but really great pattern. And yeah, so I'm desperate to get this done as well for that. For the competition, I want to get first place. I'm gonna get first place of this. I can feel it. So hopefully I will get that done as well by August. And yeah, unfortunately I have no finished objects because I don't know why, because I've got too many whips and not enough finished objects. That's kind of like the situation I'm in at the moment. But I do have Stashquisitions to show you, which is exciting. Like I mentioned, I had to purchase those needles. And the fact that I had to purchase those needles, I wanted to get free shipping. I wanted to get free shipping. So I purchased them from Knit Picks. Here's the empty packaging from the needles. So I thought, well, I might as well purchase some yarn while I'm at it. Like, it's not like I'm not going to use it. So for some reason, I decided to like buy just a bunch of colors, and then in my brain I was like, I could make a striped sweater, like a striped sweater. I didn't have a pattern in mind you. I was just like, I'm gonna buy a bunch of colors that I like, and then I'm gonna make some stripy sweater. And so that's what I did. So what I have, this is all Mighty Stitch from Knit Picks, and it's actually a combination of acrylic and superwash wool. Now, what's interesting is that I've never made a sweater from acrylic. And the reason I don't really have one, besides me just liking wool because of the way that it like gets softer over time. When you weave in edges, you don't really need to knot anything because wool just sticks to itself naturally. And so you can just weave in the edges and it's just like not going to go anywhere. And so I've just always had a preference for 100% wool yarn. But I was intrigued by this because they have another line of yarn called Wool of the Andes, which is actually what this sweater is made out of. And it's a very rustic, like, not rough, but like a rustic sort of feel to it. And I like it. Is it itchy? Yes. It's not unbearable, but it's like I definitely feel like a twinge here and there when I'm wearing this sweater, which could also contribute to the fact why I don't wear it often enough. But to be fair, I normally layer this with like a t-shirt underneath, and then that eliminates like all my arms are fine. It's usually just like my chest area and sometimes my neck area is a little bit sensitive, but usually I wear a t-shirt under this and then it's fine. But anyway, my point is that I was curious about this yarn because I assumed, and I assumed right, that the acrylic was going to make it softer, which is true. This is actually really incredibly soft. It says it's worsted weight. I'm not a yarn expert. However, looking at this, the thickness of this yarn, I would classify it as a DK. I'll have to, yeah, I mean, I need to make a gauge swatch of whatever sweater I end up choosing, but just looking at it like from me in my brain, I'm like, this looks like a DK weight yarn. Anyway, so I've got a couple of colors here. They're all gonna look super similar because I was like in a weird, like, I was like, Ralph Lauren, like, do you know how like Ralph Lauren is like focuses a lot on like tans and browns, and then they'll have like navy blue? Like, that's in my brain. That's like Ralph Lauren sort of situation. So that's kind of what I was going for, and that's kind of like the color story that I was going for when I was purchasing these yarns. You might completely disagree. That is totally fine because now I'm looking at them. I was like, what was I thinking? Anyway, so I've got this color, which is called Oyster. Very cute. And you can definitely tell it's acrylic because it's got like that sheen to it, which I'm like, anyway, we'll see how it turns out. Like, that sheen, you could also say it's like silk has that too. And I'm like, oh, silk, that's nice. I'm just a snob, and I'm like, acrylic for a sweater. Anyway, we'll see. I might be completely converted. I could like start making acrylic sweaters like period after this. So we'll see. I'm skeptical, but we will see. So I've got Oyster here. And then I've got Cream. Very nice. It's strange how these tags are two different colors. I don't know what that's about. And then I've got Chocolate. It's very, you kind of see where it's going here, right? And then I've got Palomino, which I know is, I think, a type of horse. So we're going for a very neutral sort of color scheme here. I can't hold them all at the same time. I have got like 7. And then I've got Latte. I actually really like this one, but it looks very similar to this one. It's just like a little bit darker, but this one's really pretty. And then my 2 pops of color, okay? This kind of didn't turn out the way that I was thinking it was going to turn out, but it is fine. So this one I really love. This is navy. Like, you can't really go wrong with navy, right? It's actually a lot darker than I thought it was going to be, which is fine. Like, it actually looks quite good. And I feel like next to, like, if I got 2 of these colors here, like, that looks quite good, right? Now, where I kind of went a bit off the rails is this one here, which is Celestial. It was a little brighter than I was anticipating. I can't remember what it looked like on the website, but I feel like it didn't look like this because I was pretty shocked that when it came. And I was like, whoa, that's like a lot brighter than I thought it was going to be. However, I think it could be a really great contrast. I'm like really trying to convince myself here. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Honestly, like, I'm imagining like a striped sweater where it's like got like all of these neutral colors, and then like throughout it would be like these wouldn't be together, they would be like far apart. Does that make sense? Like in the stripe configuration. So I've been looking at patterns recently. Here I am, I've got deadlines, I gotta finish knitting. No, I've been looking at Ravelry and I've been looking at patterns, and I'm kind of stuck between picking a cardigan and a sweater. I am wanting to make a cardigan because one of my all-time favorite pieces that I've ever knitted was the Le Pouf. The Le Pouf, hopefully I've got a picture here, cardigan. And that was a free pattern, and I just like made it like on the fly. Like I had yarn, I was like, I'll make it. And it's ended up being my most worn thing. And I was like, I obviously love cardigans. And they are really great. You just throw it on, like, and it's not too warm, like especially in Australian climate when it's not winter. Like if you just want like a cover when it's like in the evening, it's like a little bit cold, you just throw that on rather than like a full-on sweater. However, my hesitation in making a cardigan is because you would have to knit it flat because it's open, which would require a lot of purling. Assuming that I make like a stockinette style cardigan, meaning that on the right side you're knitting, on the back side you're purling. I cannot stand purling. I don't like purling. I love in the round stuff. I hate purling. I actually cannot believe that I made that cardigan and I was like purling on the wrong side. Like I was like, wow, I can't believe I did that. I was so patient back then. Like I really don't have the patience to purl on the wrong side. And so, and I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, why don't you just make a sweater in the round and then do that thing where you cut it? And so like, it would be like, I make a sweater like this and then I would cut it down the middle and then make the opening. It's not coming to me what that's called at the moment. Steeking! It's called steeking. Why don't you make a sweater in round and then steek it at the end? The reason why I won't do that is because I'm terrified of knitting a perfectly good sweater and then accidentally like tearing it apart and ruining it because I attempted to steek, full well knowing I've never steeked in my life, and then I've just like wasted yarn and wasted hours of my life. So that's the reason why I won't do that. Anyway, I need to finish those projects first before I even consider casting a new thing on with this yarn. So I have plenty of time to have a think about what I want to do, and I'm still thinking. So to be continued. You have to wait until next episode to see what where I'm at with that. So that's the yarn I purchased. Another cute little thing that I purchased was this mini skein pack. This is all just like, I just bought it for the sake of buying it. But to be fair, I did have like a rough plan with this. I have a mitered square blanket that I have ongoing. I've had it ongoing for like the last 2 or 3 years. And I'm always looking for mini skeins to add to it. So that's why I purchased this. Super pretty. The whole pack is called Garage Sale. And I was like, okay, you've won me. Like, just by the name, you've won me. But also, I love, like, the color scheme. Sorry for that, it's shiny. But I love this color scheme that it has going on. This one especially, like, that's the showstopper. But I also love the orange like the yellow. I actually have this color on my blanket already, but whatever, it's fine. And this is actually a navy blue. I feel like it looks black on camera, but it's a navy blue. Really pretty. And it's just fingering weight merino and nylon, just like sock yarn. But really pretty. I was like, oh, I need to make it to free shipping, so I'll just buy this pack of mini skeins. That was like my thought process. And then the final thing, this is so silly, but also very useful. I just bought these again to make it. I had like $3 left to get postage, and I was like, okay, I'll buy these. And they are just, what do they call them? Small point protectors. You just put them on the ends of your needles so that your stitches, your live stitches, don't fall off. I have a little sack. What? I got a pack of like of these, and it's like little yaks. You may have seen it before. My mom bought them for me, and I love them. And they're so cute. They're little shaped like yaks, and you just put them on the end of your needles. These aren't as fun, but just as useful. So I bought them. And yeah, that was my little Stashquisition that I did this month. Pretty happy with it. Yeah, I've definitely got enough yarn to keep me going even after these 2 projects. And don't even get me started with the other whips that I have. Don't even get me started. To be fair, I feel like a lot of them are definitely summer, spring oriented knits, and the ones I have now are like more winter. And it's like, obviously while in winter, I'm going to spend my time making the winter knits while it's cold. And what I mean by winter knits is that the yarn itself is like quite heavy, especially that possum one. Like, I was thinking, imagine having to knit this during like the summer. I would not be able to do it just because of like how much of a halo and how hairy the yarn is. It's like, it's for winter. Like, you knit it in winter, you wear it in winter. Like, I'm not going to be doing it in summer. So all of the projects I think that I have like in the naughty corner that I'm not touching, they're all like for summer. So that's how I'm justifying it in my brain. Yes, wow, that was a whirlwind. I hope that was interesting. I hope that was interesting. And yeah, I think that's all I have to share you. I hope you have an enjoyable rest of the month. You're probably going to see me very soon because it's nearly the end of the month already. Anyway, and hopefully I'll be able to update you with all of the projects that I finished in the month of July. So I'll see you next time. Bye.